Good morning. I'm Heidi Harris in for Marc Cox. Marc Cox returns next week. He is enjoying a cruise down the Danube and doing some fun stuff, which I'm a little bit jealous about, but I'm happy to be here with the best crew in radio this morning. Sofia Hamilton is here. She's a political strategist and commentator at Young Voices. How are you, Sofia?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me, Heidi.
Good to have you today. Now, I got mad last night. I'm not going to lie to you. I got angry. I had to print this thing out and read this indictment. I get, Sofia, am I missing something? When I look at this, almost every one of these indictments begins with the same thing. Trump lost and he won't admit it. Did I miss something?
Yeah, so it was an incredibly long indictment, very detailed. It came after a 2-year-long investigation. But yeah, a lot of it is focusing on he lost, he's not admitting it. But I think it does go a little bit deeper than that. It's trying to show a pattern of intimidation, of lying. And I think there's some truth there, but it is feeling a bit overplayed, especially when you take into account all of the other indictments that we've seen. I feel like we're hearing the same thing over and over.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting, too, reading through this. Once again, I'm Heidi Harris in for Marc Cox. We're speaking with Sofia Hamilton from Young Voices. Reading through this, one of the things that they were concerned about was the idea that people from the Trump team were trying to get a hold of data from the machines. And now I'm not a lawyer, obviously, but I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, well, I can understand why they wanted to see the data because they were concerned that the data wasn't accurate. So don't know where that's going to fall. Do you have any ideas?
Yeah, so that is one of the issues that they were indicted for, where I'm not entirely sure if that is a criminal charge on its own. The way that Georgia's racketeering law works is you can have all of these separate issues that aren't criminal charges on their own put together, and then it can be a criminal charge as when it's part of a larger story. So I'm not entirely sure about the law there in Georgia specifically. But they were getting charged for that specific reason because they were not going about it in the proper channels. So they were trying to get a hold of these voting machines and they were going in and not going through the proper channels and doing it legally.
Yeah, one of the things that they continue to say, by the way, we're speaking with Sofia Hamilton from Young Voices. I'm Heidi Harrison from Marc Cox. One of the things that they say is there was an overt, almost every single act, like Act 95, 96, 97, all this, right? They say this was an overt act in furtherance of the conspiracy. They use that phrase a lot, in furtherance of the conspiracy, in furtherance of the conspiracy. To your point, I guess that's all part of, to them, I guess they believe that they're outlining the conspiracy.
Yeah, so that's very interesting language that they're using, but it actually goes back to Georgia's Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act, the RICO Act, and that's the language. The conspiracy is the language that's used in that act. So I think in context of Trump, it sounds a bit like, oh, there's this big conspiracy going on, they're lying to us and all these different things. But really, that's just the legal language that's being used. But it does sound a bit funky in this context. Yeah, because,
here, like just flipping through this, Act 120, on about the 4th, they made phone calls, Okay, anyway. But at the end, it says, and an overt act in furtherance of the conspiracy. The next one, and an overt act in furtherance of the conspiracy, on and on and on. Almost every single one of these has that. So I don't know what's going to happen legally. I mean, what are you hearing?
Yeah, so from my understanding and from speaking with legal scholars that specialize in elections, this is one of the more serious indictments. There are 3 others. So I would say this and the Florida indictment are the more serious ones. And there's 18 people besides Trump that are implicated in this alleged crime. So I think we'll see people coming out, getting immunity, coming forward and testifying against Trump, other high-level individuals within his team. I'm just hoping that the truth comes out and that we can have a serious, actual answer as if wrong is done in this case, so American voters can be more secure in the next election. And so we know that our elections are fair and free. I think that's the biggest concern here. So hopefully more truth comes to light through this case.
Yeah, that's important. We're speaking with Sofia Hamilton from Young Voices. I'm Heidi Harrison from Marc Cox. That is a really important point that a lot of people are concerned about. What they really want, I think, people on the other side want us to believe is, there's no point in voting because there's no voter integrity. I mean, they complain about, there's plenty of voter, we know all the votes are secure, when the reality is we know that's never been true of any election. We don't know that it rose in this last election to the point where Trump lost incorrectly. I believe that, but I can't prove that. But the idea that there's no point in voting, that's really what they want voters to do. Get so disgusted they throw up their hands and stay home on election day.
And I would absolutely hate to see that. I think it's so important that everyone goes out and votes, no matter who you're voting for, even if we don't agree, just because that is your constitutional right. And that's how you be a good citizen, is making sure that you're getting your vote out there. So I would hate for anyone to be discouraged. So hopefully this can give everyone a bit more security in our elections, and they go out and vote.
Yeah, discouraged? I'm way past discouraged. I'm disgusted. I got to be honest with you, Sophia, with this whole situation. I'm just tired of and they're trying to basically bleed him financially. The tough thing's going to be all these other people who are indicted. They're not wealthy. They don't have wealthy donors giving them money. They're going to be stuck in legal limbo, who knows for how long.
So that's exactly why I think a lot of them are going to come forward. They're going to cut deals with the DA, and they'll probably go and get immunity just so they can tell their truth and get away from these financial woes. So you'll probably see more information coming out as these people come in. They're expected to come into court by August 25th. So you'll probably see a parade of those 18 individuals and Trump coming into Georgia within the next week.
What a mess. I mean, the perp walk is what they live for on the left. That's for sure. All right, Sofia Hamilton, thanks for joining me on the Marc Cox Morning Show from Young Voices. Appreciate it.
Thank you.